How's it going, folks? Welcome to another fun at-home table read. Tonight, we're doing something a little more personal. This is a script of mine that I wrote about 10 years ago, I'm realizing. So it is a very apropos because it's also about Halloween. It's about the spooky season, and that is where we are right now. So why not jump into this and give it a read? We're going to start introducing ourselves. I'm Logan. I'm the writer, and I'm going to be doing the action description tonight.
I'm Erik. I will be Spaz.
Angi and Veronica.
Hi, I'm Anne. I will be Erica.
I'm Matt. I'm going to be Brandon.
Hi, I'm George, and I'll be Chris.
I'm Nicole. I'm reading for Autumn.
Travis.
No, it's you, Jen.
You, Jennifer.
It is?
It
I'm
is.
Master.
It is
No.
you.
I'm an asshole. Hi, I'm Jen, and I am the asshole, also the caretaker. Oof.
And why, hello, I'm Travis, and I'm the Gaunt man.
Oh my God, she
Awesome.
Travis herself.
Yeah, Travis. Also, thank you for pronouncing Gaunt Man correctly. All right.
That's why I won that award.
Well, let us jump into it. 1031, written by Logan Horberg. Fade in. Interior Belmont Asylum, dusk. An old custodial cart moves slowly along the grimy tiled floor, being pushed by an unseen man. His appearance is vague and silhouetted. He pushes the cart past each room. Each room is reflecting of the internal horror of the asylum. Within the horrors of the sorry, I tried that. The custodian never breaks pace, immune to the calamity and insanity surrounding him. Fade out. Exterior, small rural town, dusk. It's the twilight hour. Kids roam along a calm rural street, donning their best Halloween costumes. One particular group of kids are especially prominent. One dressed as a cowboy, a clown, a princess, and an alien, each toting large sacks of candy while joyously parading down the street. As they reach the end of the street, their pace begins to slow down, eventually stopping to stare one particularly creepy old building looming under the dark skyline on a nearby hilltop. The sign reads, Belmont Hospital for the Criminally Insane.
What's that?
The alien pulls off her mask and looks up at the cowboy.
My mom said that's where they kept all the loonies. She said they closed it a long time ago.
Worried look crosses the cowboy's face as he looks to his friends. Before he can say anything, a light comes on in the basement of the asylum. A shadow appears in the basement window.
Or not.
Let's check it out.
The clown bolts toward the asylum. The alien pulls her mask back down and follows, leaving the princess and the cowboy behind. The princess turns to the cowboy and rests a hand on his shoulder.
Come on. It's probably nothing. No need to be scared.
I'm not scared. I just don't want to be far from home.
So you are scared.
Maybe a little.
Well, come on.
The princess grabs his shoulder and pulls him towards the quickly departing clown and alien. Exterior asylum basement window, dusk. The cowboy and princess slowly join their friends, who are already peering through the basement window of the asylum. Cautiously, they peer inside, unsure of what may happen. Interior asylum basement, dusk. Inside the basement of the asylum, the room is lit up with a flicker of a barely working fluorescent bulb. Along one of the walls is a single row of large cages. In the middle of the room sits a stainless steel table with a medical tray next to it, covered with bloodied surgical tools. Another light in the basement flickers to life, revealing a gaunt man, wearing a bloody lab coat, working on what looks like a human form on a gurney in front of him. The children continue staring through the broken, dusty window, unable to fully see the subject of the gaunt man's attention. A shadow twitches in one of the large cages. A shadowy figure takes notice of the children in the window. The prisoner, out of his mind with shock, holds something in his hands. It drips out from the bottom of the cage and into a puddle on the floor. He holds his hands out to the kids as if to offer them what he holds. A light catches it and the kids see the object in his hand. A blood-splattered human face. From the prisoner's POV, we see the kids let out a silent scream. Cut to exterior asylum basement window, dusk. The kids clamber to the side, running from the window as fast as their feet can carry them. Exterior North Carolina town, Main Street, dusk. The kids continue running back home, screaming along the main stretch of the street, running square past a costume shop, Spooky's Costume Depot, where Chris, a grizzled-looking young man wearing a leather jacket, stands outside smoking a cigarette. He shakes his head, watching the kids fly by.
Happy Halloween, dipshits.
He puts the cigarette out on the store's mascot, a skeleton with a top hat. Chris gathers himself together before heading inside. Interior, Spooky's Costume Depot, dusk. Chris walks past several customers who are trying to get their costumes late, picking through the limited selection. He crosses to one of the registers being run by Erica, redhead and perky, and she finishes helping a customer.
Here's your change, sir. Have a happy Halloween.
Customer smiles and heads towards the door. She turns to face Brandon, bored, next to her.
What time is it?
Brandon looks slowly at his watch.
6:58.
Erica lets out a sigh as Veronica, a voluptuous brunette, passes the register.
Isn't it like a rule that this close to close, we force people out of the store?
Spaz, pushing up his glasses, comes up behind Brandon. When Spaz speaks, Erica jumps, startled.
You'd think there would be a rule, but not on Smithers' watch.
Mr. Smithers is a frail-looking man dealing with an irate customer. Chris continues walking through the aisles, looking through the remaining customers. He spots one single customer. He slips up next to a girl, a beautiful blonde.
I'd recommend that one.
He points to a skin-tight catsuit on the shelf. Autumn, a small smile on her face, turns to face Chris.
Oh, really? I think my boyfriend would like that.
You have a boyfriend, huh?
Yep.
She pulls the catsuit off the shelf and holds it up to her body.
So you think I'd look good in this?
Chris looks her up and down.
Definitely.
She smiles and pulls him close.
Meow.
Autumn pulls him into a passionate kiss.
Hey guys.
Autumn and Chris stop kissing and look towards the group at the front, watching them.
You two are gross.
The couple laugh as Autumn puts the catsuit back on the rack and heads towards the front of the store. Interior, Spooky's Costume Depot, Halloween night. The group gathers near the front of the store, waiting for close.
So which haunt are we going to first?
The one out by the Tanglewood Park.
We're going to the party first, right?
Of course, baby.
I don't like that one.
Where's Spaz?
Probably in the back working on his dumbass Halloween costume.
You always pick on him too much.
He likes attention.
That does not make it right. He's an incredibly gifted artist, and all of you guys do is take advantage of him.
Oh, come on. He's still our little buddy. Let's wrap it up and get out of here. I'm itching to watch some Halloween Mojo.
They all begin to migrate back to the stock room to look for Spaz. Cut to interior, Spooky's Costume Depot, back room, dusk. Spaz is set up on a makeshift makeup lab in the back storeroom of the depot. He's busy working away on his new Halloween mask. He looks up at the sky and raises his hands to the air. He speaks in a theatrical manner.
My greatest creation yet!
He looks over his shoulder and into his mirror. Like a mad scientist, Spaz feverishly continues working, painting, and putting the final touches on his new mask. He walks away from his workstation and disappears into some unknown area in the room. The room is plastered with old movie posters, memorabilia, and photos of horror movie icons, both historic and contemporary. Veronica, Chris, Erica, and Brandon enter the room.
Spaz, shop is closed. Smithers has released us. We're ready to head out. We're ready to head out.
He was just back here.
What's all this crazy shit?
See, he probably heard you talking shit about him and went home already.
Oh, come on. He knows I love him. Take it easy.
Suddenly, out from around a corner, a hyper-realistic, horribly disfigured, zombified soldier bursts out from the shadows. The group scatters like cockroaches.
What the fuck?
Holy shit!
The creature just stares them down, drool running out of his mouth.
What the hell is it?
Kill it with fire.
Within moments, the creature begins to chuckle. It's Spaz, in the most realistic creature makeup they've ever seen.
Why aren't you guys dressed yet?
You shithead, you scared the piss out of us.
Veronica walks up to touch the makeup ever so lightly.
That's the most amazing makeup ever.
Got that right. What the hell is it?
The group begins to surround Spaz, and the room begins to surround Spaz and closely inspect the makeup.
It's so badass. I can't believe how real it looks.
She sensually runs her lily white fingers over the face.
It's encapsulated silicone. Looks real, right? Even feels real. Easy to put on and edges blend beautifully.
Spaz makes a series of exaggerated facial expressions.
All are things I don't care about. Can we go?
We got some haunts to hit.
Spaz peels off his mask, grabs his messenger bag, and follows the gang out of the back room into the main storefront.
Remember the great time we had last year?
No. Last year, the asshole in the front of me got drunk and puked all over me in the middle of the walkthrough.
Oh, right. I remember that.
I'd hope so. You were the one who puked on me.
Well, now we all know Chris can't hold his liquor.
The group laughs, all except for Erica, who continues to stare daggers at Chris.
Then how about the two haunts in Greensboro? Greensboro High Point area.
Yes, it's decided.
The group continues to joke as Mr. Smithers, looking meek and tired, walks out from his office.
If you kids want to head out, I can finish closing up by myself. Get out there and enjoy Halloween. Here are your bonus checks.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Smithers.
Perfect. We had a good month and you kids have been great. Just great.
The group quickly heads for the door.
Just remember, inventory tomorrow, so don't party too hard.
No promises.
This is a night we're never going to forget.
I don't doubt that. Have a good Halloween.
The group leaves the shop as Mr. Smithers moves towards the register. Cut to interior SUV Halloween night. The car is a flurry of costumes and skin. The girls are sliding into their costumes as Brandon and Chris pull theirs on. Chris slides on his jacket and sits back. Brandon looks from window to window, trying to see his reflection.
Anyone have a mirror? I need to finish my makeup.
Yeah, check the trunk. There should be a little one in my makeup supplies.
Brandon nearly falls into the trunk as Spaz turns. Erica zips up her outfit before digging through the bag at her feet to pull out a hat.
Swear, I wish every day was Halloween.
I definitely agree.
Brandon's head pokes out from the trunk.
Dude, you have more makeup than my mother.
Spaz grabs an empty water bottle from the cup holder and throws it back at Brandon. Brandon smiles as the bottle flies past his head.
I just can't wait for the haunts this year.
Yeah, they should be fun.
Spaz parks the car along the curb and reaches back to grab his bag. He pulls out some fake blood and touches up the wounds on his mask.
So, shall we?
They all look at each other and smile. Exterior Halloween house party, dusk. The group walks past a raging house party, each decked out in a different costume. Chris walks in front with his arm draped around Autumn, dressed like a jock and a cheerleader, respectively. Brandon swaggers through the party, dressed like a boozy pirate. Erica is dressed like a sexy witch, her hips wiggling back and forth. Spaz, still decked out like the zombie soldier, throws a messenger bag over his shoulder.
Let's get this night started.
Interior Halloween house party, dusk. Chris and Autumn burst through the door and almost immediately head towards the drink table. Erica perks up as she sees a friend across the room, smiles and waves, heading towards her. Brandon, Veronica, and Spaz stand in the doorway.
I'm gonna go try and find something.
Brandon saunters off, leaving Veronica and Spaz behind. Spaz turns to face Veronica.
Hey, do you want...
I'm gonna go get a drink.
Veronica walks off towards Chris and Autumn, who are already playing pumpkin beer pong and winning. Spaz moves off into the other room, walking through the crowd, seeing all kinds of shenanigans happening around him. He crosses several girls dressed in cat costumes, arguing over who looks the best in it. He walks past a kid dressed in a skeleton costume, duct taped to a wall.
Hey, Spaz.
Hi, Bill.
A cute girl dressed like a French maid walks up and starts drunkenly flirting with Bill, despite him being duct taped to the wall. She's showing off a tattoo, a dove on fire.
Do you like my tattoo?
Spaz walks past the girl dressed like Reagan from The Exorcist, puking over a balcony. He finishes with his rounds and sees Veronica in the corner, talking to a guy dressed like he's from the 70s. Spaz lets out a long sigh. Cut to interior Halloween house party later. Spaz crosses over to Chris and Autumn, unbeatable at pumpkin beer pong.
Hey.
Hey, man.
Chris sings another ping pong ball.
Can we head out of here?
Why?
She sings another shot.
I don't know. I don't want a repeat of last year when we spent too much time here before going to the haunted houses.
Erica comes up behind Spaz.
Yeah. Besides, I don't want you drinking too much pukey.
Chris picks up a pumpkin and downs the beer inside.
Delicious.
Brandon goes running through the room, whooping and hollering.
Maybe I agree. Let's just get out of here.
Chris sighs and picks up the empty pumpkin, throwing it at Brandon and hits him in the head.
Dude.
We're leaving.
Oh, okay.
Autumn crosses over to Veronica and pulls her away from 70s guy. Brandon throws his arms around Erica and Spaz.
Let's do this.
Exterior Graham City streets, Halloween night. Spaz's SUV circles around a small town court square. The gang is all piled inside in total party mode, pulling off pieces of their costumes. Interior SUV, Halloween night. Spaz peels off his mask and slips it into his bag as Chris pulls off his Letterman jacket. Brandon pulls off his pirate coat, leaving the slacks in the undershirt before pulling on his usual coat. The girls slip jeans on over their bare legs. Exterior, Graham City streets, Halloween night. Outside a pumpkin carving contest. Adults carving the scariest pumpkins they can. Bob, a little man, is carving a scary clown face. Snap 2, exterior, the woods of torture haunt, Halloween night. A large demonic-looking clown springs out from the shadows, lunging at a group as they walk through the dark wooded trail. Erica hears a voice and reacts with a blood-curdling scream. Chris is annoyed.
Oh, come on. Really? Right in my ear.
Brandon stares down the clown and chuckles.
Nice makeup. Interesting blood.
As the group rounds the corner trees, a cheap plastic skeleton hanging from a noose drops to swing in front of them. Again, Erica screams. Chris takes out a small flask and begins taking gulps from it before handing it to Autumn, who does the same. They enter a large group of trees illuminated by one single strobe light.
Feels like a rave, right?
Erica begins to dance a little, not noticing a shadow sneaking up behind her. A shadow screams loudly in her ears, causing Erica to scream and jump. Veronica turns to the shadow. She reciprocates by screaming back in their face. The shadow drifts back towards the tree line as they leave the trail. As they near the exit, a large man wearing a scarecrow mask jumps out and revs a large chainsaw. Erica screams as the rest of the group jumps and then applauds. Exterior, woods of torture, Halloween night. The group walks past the chainsaw-wielding man and into the lot surrounding the house. As Chris walks past the chainsaw guy, he pats him on the back, as if to say, "Good job."
Oh.
That was scarier last year.
Autumn?
Seriously, I think their budget got cut. Rubber masks, bad costumes, strolling through the woods in the mud.
He lifts his foot up and it's caked with mud.
Not my idea of a good haunt.
What's the matter with her? Something actually scare her?
The group notices Veronica off to the side, trying to catch her breath.
How you doing over there, V? You okay?
She has her back turned, but she appears to be going through some type of hysterics. She slowly turns around and takes a ragged breath.
I'm fine. The chainsaw always freaks me out.
She collects herself and returns to the group.
So if I don't get fear rushed pretty soon, this mama bear is going to be pissed.
Yeah, man. The endorphins kicking at midnight. You know what that means.
Chris nudges Brandon.
Gonna get some hardcore bumping ugly tonight.
Brandon tries to ignore him as Autumn rolls her eyes.
Okay, gang. On to the next one.
Chris smacks Autumn's butt before throwing his arm around her as the group walks off.
You guys have no tact.
Cut to exterior, spooky trees haunt Halloween night. The group stands in a long line outside of the haunted house, looking bored.
You know what I haven't seen in a long time?
Erica flips Brandon off as the group laughs.
funny. No, a real indoor haunted house. Not a corn maze, not a trail through the woods, but an indoor haunt where it's pitch dark and you don't know what's coming around the corner.
Right?
Yeah, you could totally see around the next skinny ass tree.
Yeah, I hear that.
He begins to mock the security guards who keep pushing people through the tree line.
Nothing to see here, folks, but trees and rubber masks. Keep it moving, keep it moving. I remember the one out on Base Mountain had a real indoor haunt. At random, they would pull you into the darkness. When you're 5, that's terrifying.
Oh, the most terrifying part is how much they charge to get in.
An attendant for the show walks past the line holding tickets. He sees the group and stops.
You guys again? What is this? Your 7th year?
Eight.
$30, please.
Damn, price went up.
Yeah, parking is 5 more.
They each pull out their wallets and pay the man. He tears off their tickets and hands them all to Chris before walking away.
How's that for terror? Being stuck doing that for Halloween.
Ah!
Spaz and Veronica laugh as Chris takes another swig of his flask. Erica sees him do this and slaps him on the shoulder.
Ow!
Not again, you jackass. I swear, if you puke on me this year, I'm going to shove that bottle in your urethra.
What? What the fuck is a urethra?
Your pee hole, you dumbass.
And he gives him a high five.
Smackdown.
Veronica gives Spaz an attaboy look.
You're a funny guy.
Chris takes another big gulp before putting it back in his pocket. They reach the front of the line and hand their tickets to the man holding the door. The man's face is horribly painted with white cake makeup. He's wearing a clown hat. He sounds very effeminate.
Tickets, please.
Wait a minute.
What is it now?
He's wearing the wrong costume.
What the hell are you talking about, man?
Well, he looks like a clown, but he acts like a butt pirate.
Chris finds himself amusing and laughs out loudly. No one else is laughing. They just give him a cold stare. Exterior spooky trees haunt Halloween night. The group passes a man and curtains behind him.
I think it's the I don't care attitude that really sells the horror.
Brandon and Erica laugh as they walk through the first trail as random hands reach out from the branches, vaguely grabbing at them as they pass. Brandon stops and shakes one of the hands.
Nice to meet you.
They keep moving down the trail before rounding the corner. At the end of the hall is a small horde of badly made up zombies coming towards them.
Yeah, I've never been scared of zombies.
The horde pushes down the trail, growling and drooling. The crowd enters through another curtain next to them before the zombies reach them. Interior spooky trees haunt Halloween night. In this trail, an old beat-up car sits off to the side, and a baby cradle sits at the center of the trail. They approach the cradle and see it's full of fake blood and body parts.
This is odd. Where's the baby?
They all look around and notice a cheap baby doll nailed to a tree.
I'm calling social services.
They laugh and keep moving through the trail. Interior spooky trees haunt Halloween night. They re-enter another trail and are immediately surrounded by ghostly people in rubber masks screaming and reaching for them. The group keeps moving, unfazed by the ghosts and screams. They move up to see a set of mud-caked walkaways and continue along the trail, seeing all kinds of bad costumes and makeup as they move. Brandon stops at the prop on the trail.
We have these same ones at the shop.
They weren't scary then either.
Indeed.
They keep moving and come to two large trees with a large curtain between them. A skeleton, obviously a person in another bad costume, bored, stands next to the tree.
Quick, it's the only way out.
One by one, they each jump through the trees. Veronica is the last one through. She jumps through the hole and slips in the mud. Exterior spooky trees haunt Halloween night. The group stands off to the side, brushing all the straw off of their clothes from the ground. Chris laughs as Veronica stands. Spaz moves to her side to help. Veronica starts to try to wipe the mud off of her shirt.
See? Mud has its advantages.
Veronica flips him off.
Shut up, man.
Spaz pulls a shirt out of his bag and hands it to Veronica.
Here.
Veronica takes it and smiles.
Thanks.
Spaz rejoins the group as she slips off her mud-soaked shirt.
That got shorter from last year. What a ripoff.
Yeah.
So what now?
They each look at each other.
Food?
Veronica finishes pulling a large piece of straw out of her hair.
Food fixes any problem.
Except obesity.
Chris laughs. The group starts towards their car. An unseen figure of an old man, bearded and ragged, watches them closely. They jump in the car and drive off, and the old man is still watching them intensely. Exterior soda and burger shop Halloween night. The group sits outside on the bench eating ice cream.
Seriously, when did all the haunts here get so lame?
They've taken a mass and dip in quality since last year.
I guess they just got used to playing it safe.
Yeah, these things just don't have the same magic they used to.
Hell, at this rate, we would be better off sitting at home with a bucket of KFC and a bottle of Jack watching horror movies all night.
Now you're talking.
The group nods in agreement as they eat their ice cream. At that very moment, an old 60s style hearse pulls up along the curb. The windows are completely blacked out. The group takes a pause from their ice cream.
Wow, look at that.
It's awesome.
Veronica can't help but continue staring at the hearse.
That's creepy. I wonder if there's anybody in there.
They all stand and gawk. Exterior soda shop parking lot. Halloween night. The group begins to head towards their SUV. They reach the car and enter, Spaz driving with Chris in the passenger seat. The rest pile into the back. Interior SUV, Halloween night.
So, back to Brandon's place?
Hell yeah.
Let's start with
An old man suddenly appears next to the driver's side window. As said, he's old and withered with wispy long gray hair. He has the appearance of a funeral director.
Excuse me.
Ah!
The others jump in unison. They all turn to see the old man staring at their window, smiling eerily, pulling a wrinkled piece of paper in his hand.
the fuck?
The old man continues his cold, hard stare, still smiling. He reaches up to offer them the same piece of paper. Spaz rolls down the window and moves to grab the piece of paper.
Spaz, don't.
Just relax. I'll take care of this.
Spaz peers at the old man while examining the flyer.
We don't have any money, you old fart.
Veronica hits Chris in the arm.
God, shut up.
Spaz turns back to the old man. The old man just continues his smiling glare. He splits his looks to Spaz in the front seat, to the others in the back, and then back to Spaz.
You like haunted houses? You really want to be scared?
He offers up 6 small business card-sized pieces of paper.
Free passes for each of you.
What's the catch?
Catch is there's no catch. Free pass for each of you.
Oh, come on, man.
Big promotion. Better go. It's the last night. You've got till midnight.
He points to a heading on the paper.
If you make it out without getting too scared, $10,000 is all yours.
10,000?
Can't be right.
Flyer says so right here.
Don't believe everything you read. You ever hear of that?
Shut up, Spaz.
$10,000 can be all yours.
The old man walks away, leaving the group sitting in silence, holding their passes. He disappears into the night fog.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
Chris grabs the flyer out of Spaz's hand and looks it over. He then begins to read it aloud.
The oldest haunted house in the Carolinas. Terror you can't even imagine. Reward of $10,000 to anyone who makes that alive.
Suddenly, a pair of glaring headlights come on. The hearse, parked across the street, revs its engine, squeals its tires, and speeds away.
Damn.
Whoa, if that hearse and that old man come from this haunt, it's gotta be hardcore.
Autumn grabs the flyer out of his hands.
Awesome.
No shit.
Where is it?
3666 Bass Mountain Road.
They all look at each other.
Am I the only one who has never heard of this place before?
I was just going to say that if this is the oldest haunted house around. How is it that we've never heard of it?
I don't know.
Am I the only one who really wants to go?
No, this shit sounds awesome. Besides, even if it is lame, then we could still make some money.
If something's too good to be true.
And it's too good to be true.
But it's $10,000? We'd be crazy not to at least check it out.
Spaz takes the flyer and looks it over.
Are we seriously doing this?
Oh, yeah.
Don't turn chicken shit on us now, Spaz.
Alrighty then. One for all and all for one.
The group cheers. Spaz starts the car and they drive off. Exterior country road, Halloween night. The SUV travels down a very dark, lonely country highway. The trees look almost like fingers reaching out over the high street.
It's pitch black out here.
No shit, Sherlock.
Cut to exterior country road night later. The car travels a bit of distance. The group has a worried look on their faces.
Are we there yet?
I mean, are we lost yet?
I know it's around here somewhere.
Everyone pulls out their iPhones.
We got this.
One by one, each member of the group goes to the GPS on their cell phones. And one by one, all their faces turn to a look of frustration.
Signal.
Neither do I.
Me neither.
Shit.
Brandon just shakes his head no.
No worries.
They all turn around and look at Spaz in shock.
We're here.
They all slip their phones back into their pockets as they start looking out the window. Spaz points to a sign.
Look.
It reads, "The Horror Show." An arrow points away down a one-lane gravel road. Cut to exterior country road night.
Oh, now we're going off road?
The car pulls up off an old dirt road. The group looks out the windshield to try to catch a glimpse of what awaits them. In the distance, just beyond a field of evil-looking trees, a dim light glows in the dark. On the top of the hill sits an old Victorian-looking house. It looks shabby and run down. They see several lights inside flickering on and off.
There's like no one here.
The hearse they saw earlier is parked in front. Not another soul can be seen for miles. Off to one side, there appears to be a lonely small barn. Their SUV comes to a slow stop a few feet away from it. Spaz turns the car off and none of the group moves.
I like the setup here. Out in the middle of nowhere. Pretty creepy.
Looks creepy enough on the outside.
Where is everybody? Are they closed?
Can't be the only ones here.
We may be.
Spaz looks at his watch.
It's 5 minutes to midnight.
Exterior haunted attraction field, Halloween night. They see the old man from the soda bottle shop standing on the porch. He lifts up an aged hand and points a wiry finger towards the barn in front of them. There's a single sign on the door that reads, "Ticket Office."
I guess he wants us to get out.
The old man disappears back into the dark recesses of the house.
Okay, who's getting out to get the tickets?
Everyone looks at one another. After a beat, they all look at Veronica.
You suck. Fine, I'll go.
I'm going with.
Veronica opens the door and steps out on the cold grass.
Me too.
Erica jumps out. Veronica reaches into the front window and collects the passes from the boys before grabbing Autumn and Erica and starting off towards the office. All three boys are still sitting in the SUV.
Ugh, you gotta be kidding me.
And they each have a set of balls.
Not? Come on, ladies.
It's cold out there.
Fine, we're coming.
One by one, each of the guys jumps out of the SUV to join the girls. Slowly, they begin to approach the ticket office. Autumn cowers slightly, looking around over her shoulder before eventually grabbing onto Chris's arm. The girls make their way towards the ticket office window, step by step, as the guys march towards it. The office seems empty. They peer into total blackness. Suddenly, a creepy middle-aged woman, complete with a beehive hairdo and horn-rimmed glasses, fills the empty window. Her face is stone cold, expressionless. The group jumps. They all stand quiet for a moment. A beat.
May I help you?
The group, slightly disturbed by her presence, keeps their distance.
Well, come on up here. I'm not gonna bite you.
Chris grabs the flyer out of Spaz's hand before cautiously approaching the ticket taker lady. He hands her the flyer. She snatches it from his hand. She begins to read.
You're very lucky tonight.
We are?
We were about to close. Passes?
Veronica approaches the window and hands the woman the 6 passes. Suddenly, an old-timey lantern bursts to life inside the ticket office, its flames dancing in the darkness.
Shit.
A creepy-looking thin man emerges from the shadows and takes the lantern in his hand. He nears the group and holds the lantern high, getting a good look at them.
He scared me.
Looks like you're the last group of the night.
Awesome.
You'll get the best show of all.
Well, okay then.
Come with me, please.
With a slight uneasiness, each of them attempt to smile. Reluctant but eager, they follow the thin man.
So is the $10,000 prize real?
The thin man looks back at him.
It is. If you can make it out.
What do you mean if we make it out?
You'll just have to see for yourself.
He smirks.
Here's where the nightmare begins.
Brandon looks back at the group.
This is some creepy shit, man.
Just pretend it's a bad dream and you'll be fine. My black lung, sorry. It'll be all over before you know it. You won't feel a thing.
He opens a hidden door to a dimly lit antechamber.
What does he mean by that?
They finally cross the threshold into the haunted house. The man gives a small bow. He slowly closes the door behind himself.
Happy Halloween!
The door slams shut loudly as the thin man disappears along with the outside world. Interior, the horror show, Halloween night. The group starts to move away from the door before stopping. They hear the sound of the door locking and chains sliding into place. Erica turns to look at the door and then back at her friends.
I don't like that.
Relax.
Yeah, it's just a haunted house.
They move through the foyer of the house. In front of them, a large spider web covers the hallway and a low fog drifts across the ground. Chris stops and looks around.
No guide. Looks like we have free reign of the place.
There's a casket in the foyer resembling a wake, complete with a body in the casket.
Look at this guy.
He looks real, huh?
Chris reaches over to touch him.
How are we supposed to find our way out?
I guess we just have to find it.
Yeah, that'll be half the fun.
Fun? Fuck, this place is creepy.
She looks at the others.
I love it.
Spaz looks up to the ceiling and notices a small camera.
Maybe they sell a video of your trip through when this is all over, maybe.
Now that could be fun.
They move towards another hallway, slowly making their way further into the mansion. Exterior hallway, Halloween night. They reach a nurse's station, which is covered in gore. They can hear horrible sounds like tearing flesh and bones cracking from behind it. Erica looks over the counter at the rest of the group, follows shortly after her. On the floor, several feral scavengers are tearing through a pile of body parts, eating everything and anything. They fight over bones and growl and snarl at each other. They suddenly stop dead and sniff the air. The savages turn slowly and stare at the group. All the creatures' mouths open. An otherworldly moan escapes the savage's throat as they stare. The group move away from the counter, slowly but cautiously.
Well, that's a different kind of creepy.
The group starts to move away from the counter and continue down the hallway. Behind them, the savages stand and slowly shift down the halls after them. As they reach a four-way intersection of the halls, they stop. The hall in front of them is covered with a large spider web.
Which way?
say right.
There it is.
They start to move right when out of nowhere, a maniac, secure with a straitjacket, appears in the hallway mere inches from them. The girls scream, and the guys jump as the neck restraint on the maniac pulls tight, stopping him in his tracks.
What the shit?
The Gaunt man holds the end of the maniac's collar and pulls him close, guiding him down the halls. The Gaunt man looks at the group as a small, spidery smile spreads across his face. The group moves across the hall, allowing the Gaunt man and his maniac past. They don't move until the man and his maniac round the corner.
Jesus.
That scared the piss out of me.
You aren't kidding, man.
Seriously.
Chris pulls out his flask and takes a swig.
Give me that.
Erica grabs the flask from Chris's hands and takes a gulp before slapping it back into Chris's hands.
That freaked me the hell out.
They continue moving down the halls. Interior stairwell, Halloween night. They come to a stairwell at the end of the hall. A large bloody arrow is pointed on the wall, pointing up the stairs.
So I guess we're supposed to go up.
Well, yeah. They want us to go through the whole place. No way the exit's going to be down here.
They hear a sound behind them and turn around. A hideous group of people have them in a cold stare. Long drips of bloody drool dripping from their mouths.
I guess they don't want us going backwards.
They nod and turn back towards the stairs. They start at the stairs, Erica bringing up the rear. A small, eerie giggle is heard coming from another hallway. Erica stops in a turn. She sees a clown. The clown is giggling and waving his fingers playfully at Erica. Erica gulps uneasy. The clown waves as it continues staring. She can't look away from it. She's caught in its stare.
Erica, you coming?
Erica jumps and turns back to Veronica standing behind her.
Yeah, sorry, I just got distracted by
Eric turns to point at the clown, but it's gone.
some clown.
A clown? Why do haunted houses keep thinking clowns are scary? Come on.
Veronica turns and continues up the stairs to rejoin the group. A worried look crosses Erica's face.
Yeah. Clowns aren't scary at all.
Interior haunted attraction, second floor, Halloween night. They come out onto a landing and look at down each hallway. A ghostly bride, veil obscuring her face, runs down the hallway in front of them.
Oh, look, the one thing Chris is afraid of.
Very funny.
They notice another bloody arrow on the wall pointing to the left, the direction the bride just came from. So they move to the left, walking down the eerie hallways. Autumn moves up next to Chris.
You know, I really didn't mean that, right?
Yeah. It's not like I'm afraid of marrying you. I'm just not ready yet.
I know, baby.
At the end of the hall lies an open door, leading to an empty room. As they approach the door, they can hear women laughing inside. Brandon nears the door and looks inside. He sees a gothic bedroom. The bed is covered with a thin white veil. The silhouette of two female bodies can be seen in bed writhing around. A faint sucking sound can be heard from the writhing bodies. As Brandon stands stunned, the veil parts and he sees a man being eaten slowly by two vampire girls. They slice small strips of his flesh away and are feeding them to each other. Brandon can't help but stare. One of the vampire girls looks up for a second, pausing for a moment as if she's heard them, before putting her head back down to the man's growing flesh wound. Veronica looks into the room and gasps before moving away from the door and covering her mouth.
OMG.
Brandon, eyes transfixed, keeps staring at the action.
What?
The women stop and turn to face Brandon. The women's faces are contorted into hideous vampire faces. They hiss, fangs bared, as blood drips from their lips. Suddenly, the two women appear in the doorway, growling at Brandon. In total fear, he jumps back, and the fanged women slam the door shut. Brandon backs up to rejoin the group.
I like this kind of interactive thing they got going on.
Autumn laughs nervously. She grabs Chris, who casually throws his arm around her.
I don't know. This place just isn't doing it for me. It could be scarier.
Yeah, but that was awesome.
They continue traversing the halls. A bloody, panicked woman suddenly appears, desperately grabbing Spaz's hand. Everyone jumps. Veronica lets out a small scream.
Save me!
A gloved hand reaches out of the doorway, pulling her hair. With one swift motion, she's yanked back into the darkness. The door slams shut. The haunt is starting to get to them, all except for Chris. Interior hallway, Halloween night. The group continues moving, following the painted arrows down a long hallway. The doors to the rooms in the mansion are closed, lights flickering through the dingy windows. Occasional chaotic noises and screams are heard echoing from each room.
I'm starting to not like this.
Oh, just relax. We've seen this kind of stuff before.
Behind them, a chainsaw roars to life.
See?
They turn to see a large man holding a chainsaw standing at the end of the hall. The light above him flickers to life, and they see his face. It looks like a patchwork Frankenstein. A low growling breath escapes the patchwork man's throat. He revs the chainsaw loudly and starts moving towards the group.
It's just a loud noise. Everybody knows they take the chain out, so it can't do anything.
The patchwork man starts swinging the chainsaw madly, connecting with the fluorescent light above him. The bulb bursts open and starts raining sparks down on him.
Yeah. Although that looks a little more real.
Yeah.
Patchwork keeps moving down the hallway, swinging his chainsaw, digging it into the floor and the walls as he gets closer and closer to the group.
I'm gonna say we should be moving.
I was just thinking the same thing.
The group starts to back down the hallway. As Patchwork's pace increases, so does theirs. Before long, they are running down the hallway. And at the end of the hall, a bloody arrow points them towards another stairwell. Patchwork is nearly within reach of them. They hurry inside right as Patchwork swings the chainsaw in a wide arc, barely missing them. Interior stairwell, Halloween night. Brandon slams the door closed behind them and holds it shut as Patchwork starts slamming his shoulder into the door, rocking it with the sheer force of his strikes. Slam. 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 The pounding dies down, but Brandon keeps holding the door.
Everybody okay?
They all look at each other.
Hey,
I guess so.
Man, these guys aren't fucking around.
Yeah.
They all take a deep breath. Chris starts to laugh.
This rocks.
The chainsaw roars to life.
Ah.
The chainsaw digs through the door, catching Brandon's right hand, tearing off 3 of his fingers. Brandon screams in pain and falls away from the door. Patchwork looks through this new window at the kids. A cracked smile spreads across his face as he waves slowly at them through the window. As quickly as he appeared, Patchwork backs away from the door and walks away. Brandon screams and holds his mangled hand as best he can, blood bubbling from where his fingers used to be, spilling down his arm.
oh fuck, 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 fuck.
Oh, shit.
Spaz and Erica would jump to Brandon's aid.
Give me your hand! Give me your hand!
Brandon screams as Spaz grabs his injured hand and pulls it towards him. Spaz reaches into Chris's pocket and pulls out his flask and starts pouring its contents on the wounded fingers. Brandon bellows in pain as Erica pulls the bandana out of her pocket and starts wrapping it tightly around Brandon's hand, trying to stop the bleeding.
Just hold on, Brandon. Don't pass out.
No promises.
She pulls the bandana tight. Brandon winces in pain. As Spaz and Erica struggle with Brandon, the others keep looking out the door, making sure Patchwork is gone.
Okay, what the fuck was that?
I don't know.
I can't do that. What are these assholes doing with a real working chainsaw?
Who cares? We gotta get the fuck out of here.
How? Do you see an exit? We're fucking trapped in here.
Erica looks up from Brandon and his hand.
Find the fucking way out. If we don't get Brandon out of here soon.
Don't finish that sentence. I don't want to know.
Brandon's eyes start to droop. He's losing consciousness. Erica drops back to his side and starts slapping his face, desperate to keep him awake.
Stop hitting me, damn it.
Brandon starts wearily waving his hand, fending Erica off. Spaz helps Brandon stand up and keep him that way.
Let's just keep following those arrows.
Or let's not be fucking stupid and call the police.
Erica pulls out her phone and tries dialing. Ring. Ring. Click. She looks at her phone. No signal.
Shit. Anyone have signal?
They all pull out their phones and look.
No.
No.
None.
I don't even have my phone.
Shit.
It doesn't matter. Let's find an exit and get the fuck out of here.
Start moving up the stairs.
Don't forget my fingers.
Erica sighs and grabs what's left of Brandon's fingers off of the floor and puts them in her coat pocket. Interior, third floor, Halloween night. The group burst onto the third floor from the stairwell, desperately rushing down the halls. In the distance, they hear the door to the stairwell creak open. Someone or something is following them. They shuffle down the halls, Brandon struggling to stay standing. Erica looks down at the ground and sees that Brandon is dripping through his makeshift bandage, leaving a blood trail behind them. The group rounds a corner and comes to a T-junction. On the wall, a bloody arrow splits and points down both hallways. Chris looks back and forth down each hallway. Both have flickering lights and a small amount of fog billowing from their respective corners. Chris turns back to face the group.
I know this sucks, but we have to split up.
Fuck that.
I'm serious. One of these might lead to a way out faster, and we need to get Brandon to a hospital.
I want to keep my fingers.
See, he wants to keep his fingers. Look, you, Veronica, and Brandon go that way. Autumn, Erica, and I will go this way. We'll walk until we find something, then meet back here.
We should meet back here in 15 minutes regardless.
Exactly. We got to get the fuck out.
Erica crosses over to Brandon and takes his weight off of Erica's shoulder. Erica moves over to the right hallway and starts down the hall. Chris and Autumn follow shortly after, leaving Spaz, Veronica, and Brandon at the junction.
Oh,
Erica turns around and faces Brandon.
be careful. And don't die.
Yeah.
Chris's group rounds the corner, moving out of sight, leaving Spaz's gang behind.
Sounds like a plan.
Spaz turns to face the hallway, taking some of Brandon's weight off of Veronica before starting to move down the other corridor. Interior hallway, Halloween night. Chris, Autumn, and Erica move slowly around the corridor, cautiously looking through each doorway, worried about who might jump through it.
What the fuck is up with this place?
Haunt full of crazy people.
We don't know if they're all crazy or if it was just that one guy. Or maybe just the guy just got given the wrong prop. Remember that year where the kid nearly set himself on fire?
And I suppose that wave he did through the window was his way of saying a little call for help.
Maybe.
Are you fucking high?
Guys, stop it. Who cares if it was an accident or not? Brandon is hurt and we need to get him out of here. That is it.
You're right.
Lead the way.
Chris rounds the corner. He stops dead in his tracks. Erica and Autumn stop, then look around at Chris.
What is it?
Chris gestures for them to look down the hall. They do, and a gasp leaves their throats. Strewn all down the hallway are several limbs and entrails, some strung up decoratively from the ceiling, some jammed in piles along the hall. The floor is pooled with blood. Doors have been broken off their hinges as if something massive has burst out of the rooms, clamoring for freedom. Autumn turns white as a sheet.
Hell?
Chris takes a step forward and holds a hand out to hold the girls in place. He wades forward into the blood, it pooling around his shoes. He slowly approaches one of the hands dangling from the ceiling. It's obviously a feminine hand, bright nail polish on the nails and fingers full of rings. On its wrist, a tattoo of a dove on fire. This arm belonged to the maid. He slowly reaches his hand towards it and pinches at it. His hand withdraws quickly in disgust and horror. The color drains out of his face as he turns and heads back to the girls in a stupor.
What?
What is it?
Chris gags and vomits onto Erica's feet. She recoils in disgust.
Seriously?
Autumn moves to Chris and slowly rubs his neck.
What's going on, baby?
Chris catches his breath and tries to regain his composure.
They're real. They're real. We see fake limbs all the time. Hell, we work with them. I know the difference. That isn't a fake arm.
Wait, what?
It's real. This is a real human arm. And if that's a real arm, then that means that the rest of this shit is real.
Oh my god.
Can't be serious.
This is fucked.
Who could do something like this?
I don't want to know.
What do we do?
Chris looks around and sees a bloody arrow pointing down the hallway of gore. Below the arrow, a bloody handprint sits on the wall, dragged into the hall.
I guess we're supposed to go through.
I don't want to. Let's find another way around.
Autumn starts moving away from the hallway of gore.
Mm,
Baby,
mm-mm.
Chris turns to Erica.
stay here.
Have any better options?
Chris goes after Autumn, putting a hand on her shoulder and pulling her close into a loving embrace. Autumn starts whimpering into his arms.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's not okay.
I know, but it will be.
Autumn looks up at him with tears in her eyes.
You swear.
I swear.
Chris holds her tightly as they move back towards the hallway of gore. They reach Erica and look at the carnage before them.
All right, let's go.
They start their trek down the hall. Interior hallway Halloween night. Spaz, Veronica, and Brandon slowly make their way down the hall with a little more resilience.
I'm not feeling so hot.
Well, I would think so. Your fingers are in someone's pocket, and they're on the other end of the building.
Oh yeah, I thought I'd forgotten something.
Veronica looks down at her pant leg, which is soaked with blood.
And you've been bleeding on my leg for the last few minutes.
Sorry about that. I'll try to keep my blood to myself.
They come to a turn in the hall where they must choose to turn or keep going straight.
What now?
They look down the hall and see one of the doors creak open. A leather-gloved hand with used syringes duct taped to the fingers creeps out from the door and taps the needles slowly on the door frame, each connecting with a sickening click. Click, 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 click. Click, click, click. The fingers clasp tightly on the door frame.
Yeah, I'm gonna say not that way.
Veronica ushers Brandon down the hallway to the right as Spaz stands frozen. Needle fingers, horrifically deformed, pulls himself out from the door and smiles a sickly smile at Spaz. Spaz clambers after Veronica and Brandon. Interior hallway, Halloween night. Chris, Erica, Autumn, and Autumn slowly dredge through the blood and limbs.
This sucks.
Yeah.
Looks like the window display we have at the shop.
Yeah, but infinitely more fucked up.
A series of low growls can be heard from not too far behind them.
What's that?
Not something I want to make friends with. Can we just keep going?
Yeah.
They keep moving and finally reach the end of the hall. Chris and Erica round the corner as Autumn nears the end of the hall, slightly tripping over a pile of intestines on the floor.
Hurry. Ah!
A group of 5 human creatures burst from a doorway right next to Chris and Erica. They dash to the side and start running down the hall as Autumn struggles to keep up. A large hand grabs Autumn's hair and pulls her to the ground. Chris turns and sees Autumn being dragged away.
Autumn!
Keep moving!
No! Autumn!
Another creature pushes through the door between Chris and Autumn.
We have to move now.
Chris pushes Erica away.
I can't leave her.
A creature bursts from one of the doors and forces Chris against the wall, trying to bite and claw at his neck and face. Erica jumps and darts away, looking for something to help. Interior hallway of gore, Halloween night. Autumn is being dragged, hair first, down through the pool of blood on the floor. She kicks and flails against her attacker. Rip. A clump of her hair comes off in the dragging creature's hand as Autumn flounders free. She quickly rolls to her feet and tries to head back down the hall to rejoin her friends.
Autumn!
Chris, I'm here.
A large collection of human creatures is blocking her path ahead. She turns and sees another group of creatures join her initial attacker.
No!
The creatures slowly converge on her, drooling and clamoring to be the first to the prize. Autumn screams as they get closer. One creature jumps ahead to lunge at her. She punches the creature square in the head. It drops to the floor and keeps moving towards her. The creature attacking Chris grabs him by the neck and slams him into the wall and with a protruding nail, which punctures his shoulder.
Ah!
Chris tries to pull away from the wall, but the creature holds him there. A creature bites Autumn squarely on her leg, and she screams. A click of teeth connecting can be heard. Chris pushes hard as he can against the creature, but to no avail.
Autumn!
The creature retracts his jaw, taking a chunk of her calf with him. She slaps her hand to her leg to cover the wound. She turns back and is hit from behind, hard, by another creature. Erica reappears as a long plank of wood and breaks it over the creature's head. Instead of falling, the creature turns attention to her. Say again, Erica.
Oh, fuck.
Erica drops the plank in her hand and takes off down the hall, the creature following. Erica drops off of the wall and onto the floor. Or Chris drops off the wall and onto the floor. Autumn drops to her knees as another creature grabs her hair, throwing her fully to the ground, knocking the wind out of her. The creatures begin pulling at her, each vying for their own piece. Chris reaches towards his shoulder and finds the nail still stuck in the muscle. He grits his teeth and pulls out the nail, which comes loose with a squelch. Blood flows down his shoulder. One creature digs his clawed fingers into Autumn's stomach and pulls, taking muscle with him. Another creature slams his fist down onto her chest, and with a sickening crack, her ribs break. One of the creatures reaches his hand into the now open hole in Autumn's stomach and grabs a handful of ribs and pulls. Muscle tears. Flesh strains. Bones snap.
Autumn!
Autumn's chest pulls open and apart as the creatures continue piling onto her, each biting and clawing, tearing Autumn apart at the seams.
No!
Gagging on her own blood, Autumn dies. Chris staggers to his feet and looks at the carnage. The creatures turn their full attention to Chris. As they stand, he turns to the hallway and then Erica ran down and follows. Interior Spaz's hallway, Halloween night. Spaz, Veronica, and Brandon turn, having heard Chris and Autumn's screams.
Shit.
Spaz's hands tighten around his bag strap, trying to stop them from shaking. The group looks terrified as they resume their travels deeper inside. Interior hallway nurses station, Halloween night. Erica continues to run as the creature continues chasing her. Chris rounds the corner and sees the creature approaching Erica.
Hey,
Creature stops and turns.
come and get me, you ugly bastard.
Creature charges at Chris, who braces himself. The creature lowers his shoulders and tackles Chris into a wall. Chris raises his arms and slams them down into the creature's back before quickly bringing his knee up into the creature's jaw, dropping it to the floor. He starts stomping at the creature's head harder and harder with each passing moment.
Chris.
No, she was right there. I could have saved her, but this stupid
Stomp.
mother
Stomp.
fucker stopped me. Ugh.
With one final stomp, the creature's skull cracks. Chris stops and stands, defiant on the creature's now dead body. He looks at Erica with sadness in his eyes.
I could have saved her.
Erica crosses to him.
I think we both know that. But right now we need to save ourselves.
She puts her arm on Chris's shoulder and they bolt down the hall. Interior hallway, Halloween night. Brandon, Spaz, and Veronica keep moving down the halls, looking back periodically, looking for needle fingers.
All right, I don't like this at all. I hate this being chase shit. We've got to do something. Otherwise, who or whatever is after us is going to find us and really fuck us up.
What would you suggest? Do you want to set a trap like Scooby-Doo or something?
You got a better idea?
Yeah, beat the shit out of him.
No way. Did you see the glove? It looked like he had needles all over it.
So you stay away from the hand.
I'd still rather not risk it. I hate needles.
Spaz steps in front of the two.
I'm not saying it's a great idea. I'm not even saying it's a good idea. But it's better than waiting for something to further fuck our night up.
Brandon stands still for a moment, thinking of the options.
Let me guess. We need bait.
I don't know. I just suggested a plan a few seconds ago.
Brandon sits tiredly against the wall.
I'm just going to sit for a moment or two. Wake me up when we have a plan.
Veronica crouches next to him and puts a hand on his shoulder.
Brandon, you can't go to sleep. You're in shock, and if you fall asleep, you might not wake up.
Then don't let me fall asleep. I'm just sitting.
Just remember, if you fall asleep, I'm gonna have to slap you.
You can't hit me. I'm injured.
Veronica sighs and stands before moving over to Spaz.
Okay, then. So what do we do?
Spaz stands and looks at the room around him.
I've got an idea.
Interior hallway, Halloween night. Needlefinger slowly rounds the corner and makes his way towards the place where the group is just standing. He drags his gloved hand along the wall, breaking off paint flakes as he goes. He starts clicking the fingers as he walks. Click, 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 click. Click, 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 click. He drags the syringes along the wall and carves a track in the wall. Brandon comes out from a doorway and faces down Needlefingers.
Hey, come and get me, you ugly fuck.
A small chuckle leaves Needlefinger's throat.
Now!
From out of one of the rooms, Spaz comes running, holding a large bedsheet. Veronica comes running out, holding several straps and a few belts. Needlefingers growls and swings his glove wildly, catching Veronica in the arm, leaving 4 long, thin tracks of blood in his wake. Veronica screams in pain, but keeps moving forward with Spaz. They throw the blanket over Needlefinger's head as Brandon starts whipping the straps around him, struggling to secure them around the wriggling Needlefingers. Interior hallway, Halloween night. Needlefingers lays writhing on the ground, trying to claw his way out of the blanket. Spaz tends to Veronica's arm cuts as Brandon stands over Needlefingers.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. It just stings. God knows where those things have been.
Brandon winds up and punches Needlefingers where his head should be. Needlefingers stops wriggling.
I think we need to get out of here. Like now.
They start moving down the hallway, away from the unconscious body of Needlefingers. Interior haunted attraction right hallway. Halloween night. Chris and Erica continue to move down the hall, jumping at any growl they hear, worried the savages are coming back. They come around another junction. To one side, a set of stairs leading down, another leading further down the hall. Chris turns to face Erica.
I'll stay up here. You head back down.
Why?
Because the exit is more likely down there, and I don't want to put anyone else at risk. It's most likely safer down there, so you're going.
Be safe.
Erica heads down the stairs as Chris turns to head down the hall. Interior hallway, Halloween night. Brandon leads the way down the corridor as Spaz and Veronica bring up the rear. Veronica leans over to speak to Spaz.
He seems to be doing better given the whole missing fingers thing.
Yeah, who'd have guessed?
Brandon stops in his tracks. Veronica and Spaz nearly run into him without noticing.
What is it?
I hear singing.
What?
Just wait here.
Brandon walks further down the hall and starts to head towards one of the rooms in particular. Veronica listens. A faint singing can be heard, and Veronica looks at Spaz, concerned.
I don't like the sound of that.
2 pairs of hands fly out of a room and grab Brandon, jerking him inside and slamming the door behind him. Veronica and Spaz look up immediately and rush over to the recently shut door. They look through the window to see what's happening. Interior haunted attraction hospital room, Halloween night. Brandon slides along the floor with the force of the pull. He hits the wall with a dull thump and groans. He looks up to see the 2 vampire women from before are slowly crawling towards him.
Oh, shit.
The women reach his feet, pulling him away from the wall and into the middle of the floor. Brandon swings his good hand at them. One woman grabs his hand by the wrist and twists. Crack. Brandon's wrist breaks. The women slam him down to the ground and pull out a large knitting needle. She swings it on a wide arc and stabs it through Brandon's good hand, pinning it to the floor. The blood pours from his new wound and pools underneath it.
Ah!
Spaz and Veronica slam at the door, trying desperately to force it open and save their friend. The vampire woman lifts his injured hand and pulls at the bandage, removing it with ease. Blood flows from his finger wounds. The vampire licks hungrily at the blood trailing from Brandon's arm.
Get off me, you sick bitch!
The vampire hisses, blood dripping from her mouth as she rears back and digs her fangs deep into Brandon's wrist. A scream leaves his throat. The other vampire rears back and sinks her teeth deep into Brandon's windpipe, stifling his scream. She pulls back, blood running freely down her chin. The other vampire lets go of his wrist and moves slowly up to join the other at his neck. They both smile, blood-soaked grins before kissing delicately. Spaz and Veronica scream from the door.
No!
They turn and look at the door before turning back to digging their fangs deeper into Brandon's neck. Blood pours freely as Brandon dies. Interior hallway, Halloween night. Veronica grabs Spaz's arm, forcing them away from the carnage before them.
God damn it!
Interior, haunted attraction, second floor, Halloween night. Erica moves along the hallway nervously, on the lookout for another bloody arrow to guide the way. She rounds a corner. At the end of the hall, stands the clown, still giggling. The clown stands and waves eerily at her.
No. Mm-mm.
Erica starts to move in the opposite direction of the clown, who simply waves as she leaves. Interior, third floor hallway, Halloween night. Chris makes his way down the halls, muttering slyly to himself. It's obvious that he's cracking up badly.
Place is nuts. What kind of people do this? Tearing people apart, thrashing people with chainsaws. What kind of hell is this place?
He rounds a corner and runs face first into Patchwork, who's standing in the middle of the hall. Chris staggers back, almost trying to comprehend what just happened. Patchwork grabs Chris viciously by the throat and lifts him into the air. Chris grabs futilely at Patchwork's hands, but to no avail. Patchwork slams Chris violently against a wall, cracking a large hole where he hits. And Patchwork slams Chris into the wall once again, harder this time. He lifts Chris high into the air before slamming him hard into the ground, knocking him out. Interior, hallway, Halloween night. Spaz and Veronica move quickly down the hall, jumping at every noise and nearly overcome with fear.
Tonight.
What do you mean? You were driving a damn car.
I've been getting tired of the haunts every year. They never change.
Then why were you so anxious to leave the party?
Because instead of drinking and making a fool of myself, I'd much rather be sculpting at home. Then all you guys wanted to come here, and I figured, why not?
They hear confident footsteps from around the corner, drawing closer every moment.
Shit.
Hide.
Spaz grabs Veronica and pulls her into one of the rooms and closes the door quietly behind them. The gaunt man rounds the corner and walks past their hiding spot. What the hell? The gaunt man doesn't break stride, continues walking down the hallway and around the corner and out of sight. Spaz and Veronica let out a collective breath. Veronica walks down the hall after the gaunt man. She slowly leaves the hiding spot and starts down the hall at the same direction as the gaunt man.
Wait, where are you going?
Following that guy.
Why? We need to find the way out.
Did you see how calmly that guy is? Not a drop of blood on him, cool as a cucumber. I think maybe he knows how to get out of here.
Veronica starts moving down the hall after him. Spaz stands quietly for a moment.
Oh, shit.
Spaz moves down the hall after Veronica and the gaunt man. Interior, isolated room, Halloween night. Chris wakes up, slowly, strapped down to a hospital bed. The more consciousness he regains, the more he struggles against his restraints. He looks around the room before noticing Patchwork standing, chainsaw in hand at the edge of the room, staring at the bed.
What do you want from me? Let me the fuck out of here.
Chris pulls intensely against the straps holding him, but it does nothing. Patchwork crosses the room and opens the door. The bride walks smoothly into the room. As she crosses the room, her hand trails lightly against Patchwork's face and chest. She continues over to the bed. Her fingers trace light lines over Chris's feet. Chris pulls away from her slender, bleached, scar-etched hands. She runs her fingers up Chris's leg and up to his belt. Her hands slip under his shirt and pulls it up, exposing his stomach. She delicately withdraws her hands and moves slowly towards her veil. The bride lifts her veil, revealing a profusely scarred face. The largest scar traced from the corner of her right eye to the right corner of her mouth, twisting her face into a lopsided smile. The bride gestures daintily to Patchwork. Patchwork pushes over a small medical tray with blood-splattered sheet covering its contents. The tray comes to a stop next to the bride. She pulls the sheet off of the tray, revealing a grimy set of surgical tools. She lifts the menacing-looking scalpel off of the tray. Her fingers dance lightly around Chris's stomach before she finds the spot she's looking for. She starts bringing the scalpel slowly towards his stomach.
No. No, 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 no!
The scalpel gently penetrates Chris's stomach just above his belly button, and the blood begins to flow freely. After a few moments of slicing, the bride pulls her scalpel down. Chris starts shivering in the early stages of shock. The bride's fingers start to probe into the incision, and her fingers find their mark. She slowly starts pulling Chris's small intestine out of the cut. She pulls for a few moments before handing the intestines to Patchwork, who keeps pulling. Chris lets out a blood-curdling scream. Interior, second floor, Halloween night. Erica looks up, having heard the scream echo through the halls.
Shit.
Erica keeps moving down the halls, more terrified than ever. The clown's giggles echo down the hallway, growing louder and louder with every passing second. Erica turns around, panicking. Her pace starts to pick up as she continues down the halls. She starts running. A bloody arrow sits on the wall in front of her, gesturing her to the left. She takes the turn without missing stride. She runs at breakneck speed, desperate to get away from the thing chasing her. She slips and falls on a patch of papers on the floor. Crash. She hits the floor and tries futilely not to break pace, but she fails. She stops and attempts to regain composure. She sits on the floor and tears start to stream down her face. The tears only last for a moment. She wipes her tears and starts standing. She gets to her feet and then gets to her feet and turns to continue down the hallway. She turns around and the clown is right behind her. She raises her hand as she backs away, and the clown raises a large knife and slashes at her. The blade digs into her palm and draws a large amount of blood. She retreats more, nursing her hand. The clown keeps laughing as he starts towards her again. She screams and starts to run. The clown makes chase, his laughter and pace unrelenting. She rounds a corner and ducks into one of the rooms. Interior, clown room, Halloween night. Erica jumps into the room, covered with brightly colored wallpaper and clown memorabilia. She sees a rickety bed, jumps underneath it, and covers her mouth to hide her panting breaths. Her eyes stay locked on the door, desperate for the clown to move on. His large red shoes enter the doorway, and his giggling dies down slightly. The clown enters the room slowly with confidence. The clown makes a lap of the room, Erica hopelessly trying to stay quiet. The clown's footsteps stop suddenly. A shallow, panicked breath leaves her throat. She tries to shift around to see where the clown has disappeared to, but to no avail. She looks cautiously back towards the door. Interior hallway, Halloween night. Spaz and Veronica continue down the hall, ducking into rooms to avoid being seen by the Gaunt man. They see him round a corner, and shortly after he does so, they sneak up to the corner and glimpse around it. At the end of a short hallway, the Gaunt man enters an office and closes the door carefully behind him. Veronica turns to Spaz.
So
we wait here until that guy leaves and check the office.
Oh, what?
I can't seem to remember, but were you this stupid before we got in here? It's an office. We can see if maybe, just maybe, there's a map in there that can tell us where the hell the exit to this place is.
Spaz sits silent for a minute.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Spaz and Veronica sit in silence for a few moments. Veronica keeps her eyes locked on the office door at the end of the hall.
Hey.
Veronica turns to face him.
What?
No. Did you ever have a little bit of a thing for me?
Veronica looks flabbergasted.
What?
You heard me.
Seriously, we've seen one of our friends die today. We might not make it out of here alive, and you want to ask if I've ever had a thing for you?
Yeah. We might die, and I've always been curious if I ever had a chance with you.
Veronica sighs.
Yes.
Spaz's face lights up.
Really?
Yeah, when we met in the 6th grade for about 2 weeks.
Spaz's expression drops.
Then I got to know you and realized you were you. I'd rather just be friends with you.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite the answer you were looking for?
Not in the slightest.
Good.
Veronica turns back to face the door as Spaz looks down the hall, working his lookout. Interior clown room, Halloween night. Erica stays under the bed, trying to be quiet. She whimpers. Suddenly, a brightly gloved hand slaps around her ankle and drags her out from under the bed, her screams echoing around the room. She comes out from under the bed and is quickly flipped over by the clown, his laughter building. The clown pulls out a knife and places it to Erica's throat. Her screams stop and she starts whimpering. The clown raises a gloved finger to his painted lips. Shh. The clown giggles again and drags the knife roughly across her throat, the blade carving its way through her windpipe and into her veins. Blood gushes out of the open wound and onto the clown's knife, gloves, and the floor. Scrape. The knife hits bone of their spine with a disgusting scrape. The clown lets out a final giggle, before dipping his fingers into the blood. He continues to laugh as he starts to finger paint with the blood all over the walls. Interior haunted attraction hallway later. The office door opens and the Gaunt man exits.
Spaz.
Veronica slaps at Spaz's arm. She connects and he looks frantic towards the door. They wait for a moment for the Gaunt man to move as far away as possible before moving towards the office door. They hear the Gaunt man's feet hit the stairs and make their move. They dart down the hallway and into the office door. Spaz makes the door first and tries the handle.
Is it locked?
Nope.
Spaz turns the handle of the door and it opens with a slight creak, and they enter. Interior office, Halloween night. Spaz closes the door quietly behind him and turns the latch, locking the door. Spaz turns and gets a good look at the office. Paperwork is stacked and fallen everywhere. The room looks torn apart. Filing cabinet drawers have been yanked from their housing and thrown violently around, scattering their contents all over the place.
Well, I guess let's start looking some sort of map or floor plans.
Spaz and Veronica start rooting through all the files they can find, desperate to find their salvation in that map. Veronica tears through the remaining filing cabinets, looking through the file folder after file folder. Interior clown room, Halloween night. The clown pulls Erica over onto a wall, a dingy dress pulled over her clothes. Her head lies rocked back and her neck open. He pushes her head forward and places a small table in front of her, adorned with a small teapot and cups. The clown picks up a cup and sips before gesturing for her to do the same. The blood drips down at the front of the dress. Interior office, Halloween night. Spaz starts taking apart the desk to see if any of the files can help them. He pulls open the drawer down towards the bottom and starts going through its contents. After a moment or two, he looks back down to the open drawer. The bottom of the drawer looks cracked. Spaz puts down his files in his hands and crouches back down to the cabinet. Spaz pushes into the crack and it breaks apart in his fingers. He pulls aside the pieces to reveal a thick file folder held together with a large, thick rubber band. Veronica pulls something shiny out of the large pile.
Veronica?
Spaz.
Veronica turns and looks. She puts down the files in her hands and crosses over to Spaz.
What'd you find?
Spaz holds up a folder and looks at the label on its side. It reads, Project 1031.
What the hell?
Spaz starts reading. Interior asylum flashback. The Gaunt man, looking 20 years younger, pushes a cart down the halls of the asylum, which look more pristine than it was earlier.
These fools don't know half as much as I do.
Interior asylum bathroom night. The Gaunt man runs a mop over the floor, wiping away God knows what.
They forced me from John Hopkins for going a little outside the rules to achieve a result. The idiots. And now I'm stuck cleaning up the filth left behind by these subpar physicians.
Cut to exterior haunted attraction flashback. The Gaunt man walks up the stairs to the front door and walks inside. Interior haunted attraction flashback. The Gaunt man pushes the door closed behind him.
This house used to be alive with fear. My family's haunted house was the best in the state, the best in the country.
Interior asylum flashback. People run in a panic, forcing their way past the Gaunt man. He finally makes his way up towards the front of the crowd and sees what everyone is running towards. A young Patchwork is being forced against the wall, blood all over him. On the ground at his feet lies a nurse, contorted into a mangled mess. The Gaunt man looks at the people around him, taking notice of just how afraid of Patchwork they are. Interior haunted attraction bedroom flashback. The Gaunt man sits in a large easy chair in a room that would eventually become the vampire women's room.
I can make it alive again.
Interior asylum flashback. The Gaunt man slips keys out of his pocket and into the lock of the large door. The tumblers click into place and he opens the door slowly before peering inside. Inside, hunched in a corner, sits Patchwork. Patchwork notices the Gaunt man and stands slowly. He growls and starts charging towards the Gaunt man, who holds his ground. Patchwork stops and simply stares. A smile crosses the Gaunt man's face. Interior haunted attraction flashback. The Gaunt man stands in the middle of his creation, people crossing through the attraction. Screams are heard, and the Gaunt man smiles.
We can bring this attraction back to its former glory. It'll be a long, hard walk, but it must be done. We will make this long dead thing alive again.
Interior haunted attraction office, Halloween night. Spaz and Veronica put the file down in disgust.
What?
This sick fuck created this whole thing as some disgusting form of entertainment.
This isn't entertainment. This is murder. A shit ton of it. What about you? What did you find?
Set of keys.
Oh, that might help.
Let's just find the map and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, let's do that.
They continue to push through files, more desperate than ever to make it out of this hell in one piece. After another minute of searching, Spaz throws a large stack of files angrily against the wall.
I can't find anything.
Spaz.
No, this isn't getting us anywhere. We should just go back to following those stupid arrows.
We don't even know if those point us to the exit. For all we know, they could just be leading us further into this place.
I know, but you read it just like I did. When this place first came about, it was a real haunted house. That means they have to have had an exit. They had to.
Makes sense, but we need to find something to protect ourselves with. I don't want to run into those things empty-handed.
Spaz moves to the corner furthest away from the door and pulls out a paper cutter wedged against the wall. He clutches the blade and with a fierce pull, yanks the blade free of the base. He throws the makeshift machete over his shoulder.
There. Now let's get out of here.
Spaz moves to the door, pushes his glasses back up over his eyes, and takes the handle.
Ready?
As I'm ever going to be.
Spaz pulls the handle, but the door doesn't budge. He pulls again. Still nothing.
What the?
Wait,
Veronica reaches forward and unlocks the door.
it should work more now.
Wow. I feel stupid.
It's all right. I think under the circumstances, you can be forgiven for a momentary lapse in sanity.
Funny.
They pause. Spaz pulls the door open and they leave the room. Amidst the piles of paper, a small corner of a map peeks out. Interior haunted attraction nurses station, Halloween night. Spaz and Veronica work their way silently through the halls, Spaz holding the blade, ready to swing it like a baseball bat.
What are we going to do when we get out of here?
You mean if we get out of here?
No, I mean when. We're going to make it, Veronica, I promise you.
Spaz turns, and Veronica's gone.
Veronica?
He starts becoming frantic.
Veronica!
A giggle is heard behind Spaz. And he turns quickly, revealing the clown, holding Veronica by the throat, his makeup now accentuated with Erica's blood. Spaz races the blade higher, ready to swing.
Let her go, you sick fuck!
Spaz swings wildly as the clown steps out of the arc of the blade. The clown lifts his own knife to Veronica's throat. Spaz immediately goes on the defensive.
Stop. Don't you hurt her.
The clown giggles.
Help me.
I will. Remember what I said. We're gonna make it out of here. Shut up! What do you want? No!
The clown starts to drag his knife across Veronica's throat, but before he can fully cut, Veronica brings up her hand and brings it down hard into the clown's groin. The clown grunts and drops his knife. Spaz roars and brings up his blade as Veronica ducks out of the clown's grip. Spaz brings the blade down onto the clown's head with a sickening thunk. Blood splatters up onto Spaz's face. He pulls the blade free and brings it back down again and again onto the clown. Spaz screams in frustration and in rage with every blow. After the fourth blow, the Spaz's blood-splattered glasses fall to the ground.
Spaz.
Spaz swings for a fifth time.
Spaz.
Veronica grabs Spaz's arm, stopping him from connecting with the clown's head for a sixth time.
It's okay. He's gone.
Spaz struggles to catch his breath, bringing his heart rate under control.
Relax. Breathe.
Spaz's breath becomes calmer and more ragged. Veronica bends over and picks up Spaz's glasses. She tries to wipe the blood off of them with her shirt, with little success. She carefully puts them onto his face and reaches for the blade.
Why don't I take that for right now?
The blade falls from Spaz's hand and into Veronica's.
Let's keep moving.
Spaz and Veronica start moving down the hall towards another bloody arrow. Interior haunted attraction hallway, Halloween night. The pair round a corner as indicated by the bloody arrow. At the end of the hall, Patchwork stands, with Chris's intestines wrapped around his neck like a scarf. The pair immediately tense up, ready to either fight or flight. Patchwork's large arm slowly raises, pointing down the hall to his right. Veronica raises the blade.
What should we do?
We go back. You saw what he did to Brandon. I don't want to give him the chance to do that to us.
Yeah, I agree. Come on.
Spaz and Veronica turn around and stop cold. Behind them stand the two vampires who killed Brandon. Veronica screams. The vampires hiss at the pair, Brandon's fresh blood still dripping down their lips, and Spaz starts to back up with Veronica in tow.
We'll just go this way.
Spaz starts moving towards another hallway branching off from their current location, and a snarl is heard. Spaz and Veronica turn and are greeted by the horde of savages and creatures, still dripping with Autumn's blood.
Shit.
Veronica jumps back, and Spaz puts himself between the creatures and Veronica. He takes the blade from her and starts waving it at their pursuers.
Stay back!
The pair look back towards Patchwork, now joined with the bride, who drags his chainsaw behind her.
Don't like saying it, but I think we have to go that way.
I knew you were going to say that, and I still didn't like hearing it.
You ready?
Getting real sick of that question.
Spaz and Veronica start to move down the hallway towards Patchwork, trying desperately to keep their eyes on all of the creatures surrounding them. Interior intersection Halloween night. They reach the corner where Patchwork stands and start moving slowly down the hallway he indicated. The conglomeration of creatures all gather, filling the hallway wall to wall, pushing the heroes down the unknown hall.
Where are they leading us?
To me, my dear.
Spaz and Veronica jump as Spaz turns to swing the blade at the Gaunt man. Patchwork springs up from behind him and grabs the blade. Blood trickles down Patchwork's hand as he tears the blade from Spaz's grip and uses the other to throw Spaz against the wall. Spaz's head hits the wall with an unsettling crack, and he falls to the ground, unconscious. Veronica screams as Patchwork turns to her.
Bring her.
No!
Patchwork reaches for Veronica and grabs her, throwing her easily over his shoulder. Patchwork bends over and lifts Spaz up with his other arm and walks over to what appears to be a laundry chute. He places Spaz's body into the chute. Cut to interior tunnel slide night. Spaz's body slides down the tunnel and lands with a thud on something. Cut to interior hallway night. The group follows the Gaunt man down the hall. Patchwork has thrown Veronica over his shoulder. Interior sub-basement pit Halloween night later. Spaz's head rolls back and forth, trying to wake up. He tries to work his way up to his feet, but slips to his knees. He looks cautiously at his hands. They're covered in blood. He pushes back and slips and falls into the tattered remains of the other guests of the attraction. Spaz pushes back before slipping onto a concrete floor. Interior sub-basement corridor night. He finds concrete under his hands and struggles to stand up. He looks back at the pile of bodies, some in various stages of decomposition. He gags, but stifles it. Spaz looks down the hall, seeing it branching off ahead of him. He slowly approaches the junction and sees a bank of television monitors off to his right. He makes his way to the screens. Interior haunted attraction security station Halloween night. Spaz stands in front of a bank of monitors, able to see each corner of the attraction. Interior screen 1 Halloween night. The creatures who pulled Autumn apart are spreading bits of her all along the hallway of gore. One of them looks at an arm hanging from the ceiling and squeezes it before taking it off the hook and putting Autumn's in its place. Interior haunted attraction security station. Spaz covers his mouth and looks at a different monitor. On screen 2, in the vampire room, the two vampire women hold Brandon up and nail him to the wall, teasing each other and sneaking in a kiss every few moments. Blood drips down from Brandon's arms. Interior haunted attraction security station. Spaz looks at another monitor. Interior screen 3. Chris swings from 2 meat hooks through his shoulders in a dark and dank room, his large intestine hanging from an open wound in his stomach. Interior screen 4. Erica sits, blood still dripping down her dress, in the clown's room, forever stuck in his demented tea party. Interior haunted attraction security station. Spaz looks in horror at the screens before him.
They're turning us into decorations?
Spaz looks to another monitor, which immediately grabs his attention. Interior screen 5. Patchwork, with Veronica thrown over his shoulder, approaches a large steel cage before opening the door and throwing her inside. As the door shuts, she immediately forces her way up against the door, trying desperately for freedom. Interior haunted attraction security station. Spaz puts his hand up against the monitor.
Veronica.
Spaz's attention falls to his bag. His hands clasp tightly to it, and he turns back to the hall.
I'm coming, Veronica.
Spaz hurries out of the door. Cut to interior haunted attraction lab, night. Veronica sits in a cage against the wall in a dark, dank basement. The Gaunt man sits at the desk against the far wall, looking at files. The Gaunt man looks up from his files as Veronica starts pushing against the bars of her cage.
Oh, good. You're awake. Thank heavens.
Thank heavens. Let me out of here, you sick bastard.
All in due in time, my dear. We have to evaluate you first. See if you're ready to rejoin society. That's what we're all about here. Mental stability is our ideal.
You've lost your mind.
No, my dear lady. My job is to find out if you've lost yours.
The Gaunt man moves towards a grimy glass cabinet and starts going through it.
What are you doing?
Gaunt man withdraws from the cabinet, holding a large syringe in his spidery fingers. He stabs the syringe into a vial of liquid and extracts a large amount of its contents. Veronica backs away in her cage. The Gaunt man turns to face the cages.
A brain biopsy will tell me all I need to know.
The Gaunt man comes towards the cages, extracting a key from his coat pocket. He slips the key into the lock of Veronica's cage and opens the door.
Come closer, dear. This won't hurt a bit.
Veronica swings her arm at the Gaunt man, trying to send him away. The Gaunt man catches her arm in the air and punctures her hand with the needle, injecting her with its contents. Veronica quickly withdraws her hand as the Gaunt man moves away, leaving her cage open. Veronica moves towards the open door, but starts to get groggy. The Gaunt man returns to the cage and lifts her out of it, placing her freshly sedated body onto a gurney. The Gaunt man wheels her over to a light and clicks it on. He uncovers a set of grimy surgical tools, clasps his hands together in anticipation before grabbing a marker off of the tray. He walks over and flips on another light. A light snaps to life and illuminates an audience above in the medical viewing balcony, peering down on the operating room. It's a host of characters from the haunted house.
We have an audience, my dear. They've all come to watch my work.
Veronica looks up in the viewing balcony to see a horrific collection of creatures. The Gaunt man brings the marker down and starts tracing a dotted line across Veronica's forehead. Veronica starts to panic. Her eyes dart back and forth, looking at the Gaunt man and then back to each member of the balcony audience. As her eyes pass from creature to creature, she does a double take when she notices something, or someone, familiar. It's Spaz, wearing his Halloween makeup. He blends in with all the other creatures. Her eyes light up. Spaz inconspicuously waves at her. The Gaunt man lifts the scalpel up off of the tray and starts to bring it down towards Veronica's head.
Now, my dear, this will only hurt for a moment.
Get away from her!
Spaz jumps off on the balcony rails and reaches out for a rope dangling from the ceiling. Like Tarzan, he swings down into the operating pit. He makes a beeline for the Gaunt man, and Spaz tackles him. They fumble to the ground as the Gaunt man swings his scalpel at Spaz. Spaz rolls away and hurries over to Veronica's side, picking her up and turning back to face the Gaunt man.
You can't get away from us.
Spaz kicks over the tray of tools and turns to run, grabbing his battered blade off of the table next to the door.
No.
The Gaunt man bangs on the wall next to him. The door opens and Patchwork enters.
Go. After them.
Patchwork takes off after Spaz and Veronica, who have burst through the door on the other end of the room and into the hall. Interior hallway, Halloween night. Spaz hauls the sedated Veronica through the halls at a frenetic pace, desperately searching the walls for any arrow.
My hero.
He sees one on the wall ahead of him and hurries towards it. Behind him, he hears the chainsaw roar to life. Spaz speeds down the hall and he looks at the wall. An arrow points in the direction he's going, towards a door, followed by the words, Happy Halloween. Spaz keeps going, trying recklessly to keep his pace. He and Veronica burst through the door. Exterior, the horror show, Halloween night. Spaz and Veronica erupt from the door and into the open field, the night air brisk. And he tears off his silicone mask.
Oh my god.
Spaz wants to stop, but hears the chainsaw behind them, closer with each passing moment. In the distance, Spaz sees an old Cadillac car sitting on the rear driveway. He takes off in that direction like a shot from a gun. Exterior adjacent field night. Halloween, or yeah, sure, why not? Spaz reaches the car and puts Veronica carefully onto the ground before turning to face the car. He pulls at the handle, but no avail. Frantic, he raises a foot and kicks through the driver's side window. He pulls open the door locks for the driver's door in the back seat. He returns to Veronica and puts her in the back seat, letting her lie down. Spaz jumps into the driver's seat and starts looking frantically for the keys he found earlier.
Where are they?
He turns back to face the haunted attraction. Patchwork explodes through the door, chainsaw flailing. Patchwork stops for a second, trying to find them, and after a moment, Patchwork's eyes lock onto the car with Spaz inside.
Shit.
Spaz fumbles in his pocket before remembering, all the while Patchwork drawing closer. Spaz practically flies into the back seat and starts rummaging through Veronica's pockets, and finally, he finds the keys. He slams them into the ignition and tries to start the car. After several agonizingly long tries, the car sputters to life.
It's alive! It's alive!
Spaz slams the car into gear and peels out right as Patchwork reaches the car, his chainsaw nicking one of the taillights, shattering it. Patchwork roars as Spaz and Veronica speed off down the 2-lane country highway and into the darkness. Cut to interior car night. With his hands gripping the steering wheel, Spaz is cascading in sweat. As his foot slaps the pedal, Veronica eyeballs the speedometer, which is close to reaching the 100-mile-per-hour mark.
Slow down.
We gotta create some distance.
As the car reaches the top speed of 110, the asphalt chews up the tires on the hairpin turns. Suddenly, an object bolts across the road in front of them.
Dear.
Spaz swerves slightly to the left, narrowly missing the deer. Spaz flounders at the wheel, trying desperately to regain control, but the tires start to drift as the car spins along the slick pavement in a 360. Spaz tries recklessly to correct the wheel before the car skids off the road and into the ditch next to the road, their tires chewing deep into the gravel and dirt. The car lurches as the tires finally gain traction and spit the car back onto the pavement. The tires re-grip the road as Spaz fights to keep the car moving forward and straight. He keeps his foot on the gas pedal, continuing his treacherous negotiation with the winding country roads. Veronica places her hands around her head and sobs uncontrollably.
Jesus Christ!
I can't anymore.
Do you want them to catch us?
No.
Tears flow freely from Veronica's eyes. Spaz begins to slow the car just a bit. They cruise a straightaway at 90 miles an hour.
There. I slowed him down a bit. Does that make you feel better?
No.
They fly past a nearby advertisement sign for Martha White's Biscuits going 90. As they pass, a highway patrol car is seen masking itself behind the sign. Interior highway patrol car night. The dashboard radar lights up with their speed, 97. The highway patrolman puts the vehicle into gear and speeds away from the sign to catch up with the violators. Exterior highway night. The couple continue racing down the highway. Interior car night. Suddenly, Spaz notices a blue reflection in his rearview mirror.
Oh, shit!
What?
Shit, but good shit. A cop. He's pulling us over.
Thank God. We're going to be safe. It's over and we're going to be safe.
Spaz slams down the brakes and the vehicle skids to a stop onto the gravel on the side of the road. Spaz throws open the door and starts towards the patrolman. The officer holds up a hand to let Spaz know to keep his distance.
Stay right there, son.
Thank God.
Right there. Get back in your vehicle.
You have to help us.
The officer holds up a flashlight, illuminating Spaz, noticing the blood all over his shirt. The officer notices the blood spatter on Spaz's shirt. He reacts calmly, placing his hand on the gun on his hip.
Just tell me, where are you going in such a hurry?
Veronica slips her head out of the window.
Tell him what happened to us, damn it.
The officer notices Veronica's disheveled appearance and the blood splatter on her face. The officer draws his weapon.
Down on the ground.
Spaz looks in horror at the muzzle pointing in his direction.
But officer, I could explain everything.
Wait. Down on the ground, ma'am. Stay in the vehicle.
Spaz slowly drops to his knees.
Put your hands on top of your head.
Spaz just stares at him.
Do it now.
Spaz slowly puts his hands on top of his head. The officer holsters his weapons and slaps handcuffs on Spaz's wrists. Another officer pulls up and steps out of his car. He makes his way to the first officer.
Am I also Officer 2?
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize. I'm not even on there on the script. Sorry. What page are we on? What's going on?
Get the girl out of the car.
The second officer crosses to the car and looks inside, seeing the unkept and blood-stained Veronica.
Passenger out of the car. Put your hands on top of your head.
Veronica starts slowly out of the car, a bit of her energy returning to her.
But officer, you don't understand. I can explain everything. You have to listen to me. We went to this haunted house. We were attacked by a mob of fucking psychos, and all of our friends were killed, murdered. We barely managed to get away. Now we need you to take us back there and arrest these bastards.
As she speaks, the first officer escorts Spaz over to his vehicle to question him. The second officer holsters his weapon and quickly handcuffs Veronica. Cut to exterior patrol car night. Spaz leans against a police car, his hands shackled behind him, pleading with the officer.
And that's what happened. I swear.
The officer looks at Spaz curiously. He looks back at his fellow officer.
Wait here. Don't move.
The officer walks over and meets the other halfway between the two suspects. Spaz and Veronica give one another looks.
What do you think?
Sounds like a crock to me. But their stories match.
The officers pull the pair together.
Okay, let's see. You're driving a vehicle not registered to you. You're covered in blood. Most of you say isn't yours. And you're raving your friends have been slaughtered like a herd of cattle.
Yes!
Take us back there. We can prove it.
The officers pass looks at one another.
I swear! It's the truth!
Let's go, Cowboy.
Cut to exterior roadway night. The two patrol cars take off, leaving the caddy on the side of the road. Cut to exterior car. The two patrol cars make their way down the single-lane dirt road to arrive at what appears to be the same building that they came from. However, the haunted attraction sign is gone, and in its place, a sign reading Belmont Hospital for the Criminally Insane. The building looks completely abandoned. Exterior haunted attraction field, Halloween night. The vehicles come to a slow stop. Everyone exits the vehicle.
What happened to this place?
It doesn't look the same. The signs are gone.
The surrounding landscape seems to have changed. The Halloween haunt sign is gone and the lights are off. A shadow slowly makes its way out of the darkness. It's the old caretaker wielding a shotgun.
Gotcha. Put your hands up.
Shit, it's him.
Oh, God.
The state troopers both instinctively draw their weapons.
Put the weapon down. What?
Weapon down, hands on your head.
The old man stops in his tracks.
Hell no! Hell no! I got them. They're mine now.
I'm not telling you again. Drop the weapon.
The old man considers the situation, and he slowly places the weapon down.
You don't know what happened here.
Sorry. Quiet, hands on top of your head.
The old man raises his hands and places them on his head.
Officer, you don't understand. These kids did here.
Trooper approaches him slowly, gun drawn.
They stole my caddy. That's my most valued possession.
The trooper continues his approach, ready for anything.
I've had that car for 50 years. Look what they did to it. My daddy willed me that caddy. I done took good care of it until it came along.
The old man's face fills with sadness. The trooper slips the shotgun out of the caretaker's hands and moves him towards the car.
All right, tell me what happened.
Still in handcuffs, Spaz and Veronica look somewhat concerned but relieved. Exterior haunted the traction field minutes later. From a distance, the caretaker seems very animated in his storytelling. The trooper looks back at the couple curiously. The first officer uncuffs the caretaker. Spaz and Veronica grow concerned. As the caretaker walks slowly towards Spaz's car, the trooper follows. He eyeballs Spaz and Veronica. The caretaker glances back and gives the young pair one last evil look. He opens the trunk of Spaz's car and steps back for the trooper to see. The trooper looks inside. His eyes grow wide. Veronica and Spaz's eyes focus on the trunk.
Oh my god.
She quickly turns away to puke. Spaz covers his mouth with his handcuffed hands, and the caretaker looks back at the troopers.
See, I told you we caught them inside and they ran.
The other trooper throws Spaz on the hood of the car to thoroughly search him.
Wait, what's going on?
You have to remain silent. Anything you can say can and will be used against you.
Veronica lets out a scream.
No.
Do you understand these rights?
Spaz is in shock and has not heard a thing.
What?
The caretaker smirks. Interior courthouse day. There is barely anyone in the small town courthouse. Spaz and Veronica sit at the defendant's table as Mr. Smithers is seated on the stand. On the evidence table sits the makeshift blade Spaz used on the clown.
They left my store that night, talked about a night they were never going to forget. If I'd have known that they meant what they meant, I would have done something to prevent this tragedy.
The opposing lawyer crosses to Mr. Smithers.
Having known these kids for most of their young adult life, would you have suspected that they would be capable of murder?
Mr. Smithers hangs his head.
I didn't think so, but I guess you never really know people, do you?
Spaz and Veronica look at Mr. Smithers, feeling betrayed. Interior courthouse later. The judge pounds the gavel as the jury retake their seats.
Foreman, has the jury reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
Read on.
Jury foreman stands to read the verdict.
Jury finds the defendants not guilty by reasons of insanity.
The judge ponders.
Interesting.
He reflects briefly.
Before I hand down the sentence, do the defendants have anything to say?
Both Spaz and Veronica have no words. They look back at one another as if they can't believe what they're hearing.
All right. The defendants shall be incarcerated for the remainder of their natural lives at Belmont State Mental Institute.
The judge bangs the gavel.
The jury is dismissed. This court is adjourned.
Judge regards the attorneys.
Have a good day, gentlemen.
Spaz and Veronica are mortified. Veronica drops her head in her hands and begins to sob uncontrollably. Cut to interior Belmont County Mental Institution night. The hallways are dark and eerie. Shafts of light bleed through the bars and the windows and the gray cell doors. We observe most of the patients we saw in the beginning. Pathetic individuals, slobbering, speaking in gibberish. Each patient looks worse than the other. The light next to the cell at the end of the hallway keeps flickering on and off. Interior Spaz's cell. Spaz lies in a hospital cot. He's in standard hospital gown. He stares blankly at the ceiling. Cut to interior the hospital treatment room. Across the hall is another patient who stares out the window. It's Veronica. She appears to be in a catatonic state with a thin line of drool trailing from the corner of her mouth. Cut to interior Spaz's cell night. The sound of a squeaky wheel from the custodial cart fills the hallway. It seems to stop in front of Spaz's cell door. The shadowy figure stands at the base of the cell door. Suddenly, a piece of paper is slid under. Spaz crawls over to see what it is. He picks out the piece of paper and holds it up. The light is so dim that he has to find a shaft of moonlight which to see better. This piece of paper is, in fact, a check. A check for $10,000.
Congratulations. You made it.
Spaz turns to look out his cell window to see who has placed it under his door. It's the Gaunt man.
Don't spend it all at once.
The gaunt man laughs and begins to wheel his cart down the hallway. Spaz has a look of bewilderment on his face. The gaunt man chuckles to himself as he makes his way down the hall of the insane asylum. Moonlight fills the hallway, silhouetting the gaunt man on his little cart. As he passes each room, patients begin to moan, some begin to cry, and some begin to wail. The end. And that was the thing. I hope, I don't know why I'm being so weird now. I hope you all enjoyed it. I certainly was nerve-wracked the whole time, but that was for a whole different set of reasons. So thank you all for watching, and well, we'll see you at the next one.